Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Front Boards and Four Baggers. I'm Corbin with Corbins Cornhole Reviews, and of course, Eddie with Cornhole Bag Reviews. Today, we have a fun one. We have a little NFQ spotlight. So we have the Dopes and the JCs. I think those are two of our favorite bags. I know you like the Sendits as well, but
and the Capos. They're all good.
And the Capos. Yeah, I haven't thrown the Capos enough yet. We'll get into that. we'll get there. And then we're actually going to jump into some different grip styles today. Try that one out. So let's start out with the JC here. Do you have a set with you? You do.
They're sick.
I do too.
This colorway, yeah, but I have the cooler colorway.
You do.
Look at this rainbow. I mean, come on. A little backstory behind the JC. So the JC was the first bag made by Anthony Smith and NFQ, which if you guys don't know, NFQ is Anthony Smith on Facebook's brand. You'll see his stuff on the pages. It's like $50 ship bags, which we'll get into, but makes high quality bag. But the JC was his first bag that he made. And he actually told me the story that his brother was telling him his whole life that he should get it, or the last however many years that he should get into making bags, because he was making bags for another company. And he's like, you make great bags, man. You should really make bags. So he started making bags, and then his brother actually passed away. And so JC was his brother's initials. So that was the first bag that he made, which is this bag.
Nice.
So it's kind of a cool story behind the bag, and it's a really great bag. I know you really enjoy the bag. And
I do like them quite a bit. Yeah. And I didn't know that story. So thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
So the JC, we're going to jump into stats here. The slow side is a 4 to 5, I'd say. I mean, It really depends on humidity, and you know that too. Super humidity dependent, but typically about 4 to 5. Fast side is going to be a 7. Our slow side is reverse suede. So think of who's got it?
Slide rights.
50 cal.
Slide rights use it.
It feels different than a slide right.
Yeah, their new one though, the 2.0 they used at
the 2.0
Throwdown uses reverse. Yeah.
Oh, okay, fair enough. All right, so that slow side is the reverse suede, and the fast side is that favorite number 7 material, the 7-speed material that you guys know I love. That Chaos utilizes, the Reckless, the Viking. What else do we say? The Dopes also share it. The
Sendits as well.
Sendits. You said Widows as well.
Widow slow, no dots. Yeah.
So ton of bags use it. It's just a really, really nice material. It is a smaller disc fill, which we both love the feel of this bag, and they're $50 shipped from Anthony direct, and he gets them out typically next day.
Yeah.
So what do you think about them, Eddie?
The JCs, so we'll get into the Dopes. I like the Dopes a little bit more, but the JCs, sure. I think I struggle with only for the fact is the area that I live in is always humid. And like you were just saying, that reverse suede, if you've ever played with a suede or reverse suede bag, humidity nukes suede. But when I went out and recorded my video, which me and Corbin both have reviews of this video up, I got a really low humidity day, and they played awesome. And especially if you're used to like a carpet bag, or like you want a pure block push bag, like this will stop before the hole, and it is a pain in the ass to get around. That reverse suede really does stick up, but at the same time, it's still hole friendly, which doesn't necessarily make sense, which I think goes into that fill. But it plays really well. And the fast side, it's a controllable push side. Like it pushes well, it'll go in and around, but it's not off the back like, the Game Changer material, that Pro Sniper material. It's a little more controllable, which is I know why you really like this material on a carpet bag, because it's powerful enough without being crazy punishing. Yeah. In terms of like the quality of the bag, I mean, Anthony makes a really nice bag. I really like his template. It's not too big, it's not too small, it's not too fat. The fill,
it's just right.
It's just a really comfortable bag to play with. I nuked mine with softener to get that reverse suede really loose, to at the point now that I really enjoy them. I mean, it's not super floppy, but it's really comfortable now, because when you get them, this reverse suede is stiff. But I mean, I know you said in your review too, it just does what you want it to do. I mean, it's a nice mid of the ground bag, and if you have low humidity and you still want to play block push in the fast conditions, it'll do that for you.
Absolutely.
What do you think?
I agree with you. I really like them. It's not as humid here. We get it, but not nearly as bad. A lot of times I can play a slightly stickier bag and have it do what I want. And mine, I might even be a little floppier than yours, but I do like them. Yeah. It's that perfect flop for a handhold. They play really, really nicely. That slow side it's more geared toward like a lower hard thrower, I'd say.
Agreed.
I think the loftier throwers might kind of struggle with it a little bit, because it's just going to literally loft in and just hit and stop.
Mm-hmm.
If you do have humidity, it is glue. So you're going to be switching bags. I mean, that's just how a lot of bags are anyway. But you could flip to fast side, but the fast side is going to be affected by moisture as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not necessarily a humid bag, but like it's definitely a really good indoor bag. And I'm not saying that advanced players can't use it, but it's a great beginner bag.
Yeah. No, and I would say, I mean, I said in my review, and I talked to Anthony about this too, is I felt like I could just throw it like hard. Like I could follow through and just throw it at the hole. Like I didn't feel like I was timid at all, which I think actually led into me liking it and throwing it better is because of the fact that I was always just throwing it and following through it at the shot, and being aggressive, I think, especially like you said, as a newer player too, can help you with fundamentals a lot and consistency, is you're not worried about launching it off the back of the board every single time. And I mean, I think this bag will gear really well towards a player that wants to play block and push in conditions where it's hot, Arizona, like places where it's hot and dry and like every bag is fast. This bag is hole friendly, but still can block, which I think is what it's going to shine at. But it's still a very good bag.
If you get one hanging on the hole, it's not stuck there.
No.
That's what I like about it. It might be hanging. You're able to grab it still. So it's not a clogger. I haven't had any issues with that. It's a really nice bag. I like it quite a bit.
Yeah. So. And the dopes are very similar. So we'll get into the dopes. But
yes, let's jump right into those. Why not? Do you have your set with you?
I got the cooler colors again. I got the pink and orange,
all our bags today,
which I think is cooler.
I like mine a little better. What color is your carpet?
Orange, bro.
Kind of like peachish orange. Okay.
Yeah.
And mine's navy, which I actually thought was cool. I thought it was black at first, but it's actually a navy carpet, which is really nice. The dope is really up there with some of my favorite carpet. I throw it quite a bit, actually. Speeds here, we have very similar speeds to the JC, actually. It is a 4 to 5 on that slow side and a 7 on the fast. I would call it more of a 4 with how I've been playing with them and what I've noticed.
They stick quick,
it's definitely more of a 4 for me. And the 7 is, obviously spot on. The carpet, I'm not sure I felt this carpet on other bags. I'm not going to lie. It's possible that I might, but
it could be the color too. I feel like this is that cross stitch carpet that we see on a lot of. It's not the herringbone, but I feel like it's the same stitch at least that a lot of the carpet that you see. The color,
it's almost like a tighter knit though.
You see, and when I talk to some different manufacturers, I've noticed that same thing with like the Surefire material and everything. Depending on what color you get, because they get this color stock, they're slightly different. Like they're not because of the way that it's printed on or something, depending on the color you get. So like for Surefire, for example, the white one is a little thinner than the blue and the gray and the pink just because of the ink. So it could be just this, we're used to all gray carpet all the time on all these bags. This one's colored. It could be slightly different.
I love how it plays though. And then, the fast side is that awesome 7. Same on the JC.
Yep.
Chaos, Reckless, Widow Bee, all that stuff you guys are used to. It does have that nice disc fill. It's a nice medium full bag, I would say. And these are also 50 shipped from Anthony. So this bag holds kind of a special place in my heart because it's the first bag I ever flopped.
Hey!
It's a true story. I tell Anthony that all the time. It is the first bag I ever flopped. Mine are decently floppy.
Mine are more than
they're not bad. It depends how I grab it. Sometimes it just crazy flops right over. Sometimes it kind of holds its form, just depends. But I really like where it is right now. It is a perfect handhold. This is one of those bags. I know you're like kind of a fill snob, right? So this is one of those bags that's like you grab it and it feels good.
It's comfortable. Oh yeah.
The fill, the materials, the overall template, like you brought up. Anthony makes just a very, very high quality bag. I like them quite a bit, and I recommend them to a lot of people that ask me, hey, I want to get into carpet. What should I try?
It's a great intro carpet.
$50 carpet. I think that's what you should try, actually, because I love the bag. I love how it plays, and it's just nice.
And my comparison, so like when we talk about carpet, because this is a carpet bag, because of the fill, it's not as thick as normal carpet. So if you felt the BG bag, it's not that big. And the flat disc fill, like you can flop it, but at the same time, it's a forgiving carpet. Like I have it fly up the board pretty true for me and whatnot. So like if you're looking at trying this material, it's a really good one to start with because it's so friendly to play with.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason Anthony, I even have this bag is because I reviewed the JC and I said the thing that I liked the most about the JC was that I could be aggressive and throw it hard at the hole. And he goes, if you think you can be aggressive with the JC, then you need to try the dope.
Wait till you get the dope.
Yeah, because that's exactly how the dope is his favorite bag, Anthony's favorite bag that he plays with personally. And he said, I feel the exact same way about the dope. You could stay aggressive with it, but it's slightly more hole friendly in my opinion than the JC. It holds up a little bit. I mean, like when I throw these things, it's like kind of like crazy hole friendly for a carpet. Like, I mean, it gets close. It'll like slide in my review a couple with the slide in the back.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a really friendly carpet. That I like a lot. I really like the design. He actually just came out with a new design that I really like as well, some reds and blues.
Yeah, I saw those. Those are cool.
And at the price point, I mean, like, man, it's really hard to get anything carpet at $50. I mean, you look at any other brand that makes multiple bags, like in terms of like not carpet and carpet. Carpet's always like $10 more expensive than the normal bag.
And you could look at Reynolds, but you're still spending 60, 65 shipped. And
it's a little different.
Like these better.
I like these more.
I like them better.
It's a little bit bigger than a Reynolds bag, but in a really comfortable way. And like you said with the materials, sorry, maybe not bigger, but like you said with the materials, they're both like so soft and comfortable to hold.
So
and
nice.
I think with that fill too, it's like every time I grab it, the grip feels the exact same. Like I never feel like I'm never like, oh man, I got to find my grip. It's always like I grab it and I have a grip and it's comfortable.
You have it.
Yeah, and so, I mean, I love throwing this bag. I mean, like, I can just be aggressive with the bag and throw it hard. And at the same time, it lays a really good block, because it will stop at that 4 or 5 range that you're talking about. I don't know. Overall, I just really like it. I don't know.
They're wonderful. I like his bags quite a bit. I don't have too much experience with those capo or capo, whatever you want to call them. I haven't thrown those quite enough yet to get them broken in, but
they're
fast as
they're
hell.
really fast. He's using a new material on those on the 10s that I haven't felt on any other bag.
But it scoots.
They're lightning fast. Yeah, I mean,
yes, they're ridiculous.
My buddy throws like a moon ball. And so like he has Sendits and the Sendits were sticking for him, which is crazy. And then then I had him throwing capos and he's like, man, these are great. And I'm like, yeah, because you throw it like 40 feet in the air. I was like, and they're still like sliding up the board like nothing.
Yeah. They're insane.
Yeah. Freddie, I mean, we were talking about this earlier, but Anthony, he has, what he's got: JCs, dopes, capos, craniums, Sendits, and tags. And right now he has tags and Sendits and dopes, I think, available. He's making more of everything. But I mean, the tags are the exact same carpet that we're talking about with a Game Changer Fast. This uses the 7 that we're talking about. So he has a ton of options, all for $50, all using the materials that everybody else is using, all using the fill that we like. It's the Surefire fill, that small disc fill. It's the really comfy fill. I mean, so when people say yes, it's not ACL stamp, but it's a great bag. It's a high quality bag.
Yeah, it's worth it. It doesn't matter. I mean, I would have no hesitation throwing this in a non-sanctioned event.
Yeah. And, but yeah, so I mean, that was the one negative though, you said in your review me too, is the non-ACL stamp. I mean, a lot of people are looking for that, but I mean, for $50, you have a carpet bag that you can learn how to play with and try out and use. I mean, that's a pretty solid thing you can do, especially with the prices we're seeing carpet go for now.
Sure.
But getting into that, I think talking about a carpet bag, there's a different kinds of grips that you use when you're throwing certain shots with a carpet bag, as well as the grip that me and you normally use when we play. So we can get into different grips. The caveat to this, there's tons of variations to these grips within like the way you hold it and what's comfortable, the angle you're holding it at. These are just the basic. These are just the basic, when I talk to people, the most common couple that I see, and then slight variations off of them that all are meant to do the same thing in general, which is throw the bag flat. I mean, a couple of these do it slightly differently to utilize different shots, but the whole goal is get the bag flat. And when I've taught people how to play in the last couple months or so, I usually start with the first grip we'll talk about, with the one we use, but I've actually rotated through a couple different grips until you find the one that's comfortable for them or that it comes off their hand flat naturally, which a lot of the time, that's kind of what you're looking for is don't change anything else while you throw. What grip helps you get the bag is flat. So make sure you keep all these in your options for something to try. Even if you already have one that maybe isn't working for you, try these options because all of them can be used with slight variations. So the first grip we'll get into is the one me and you use. You called it the 50-50 grip. It's just a good way to put it. I mean, in my how to throw flat video, I just kind of explained it as the bag's hanging. Your fingers are in the bottom. The bag's hanging halfway over the front of your fingers and half in your palm. So you're getting a nice solid handle with your fingers halfway into the bag. I said in my how to throw a flat video, I think it's the most natural way to start holding it. I mean, it's just kind of, if you grab the bag, that's kind of how you end up grabbing it usually. You feel, for me, it makes the best handle. It's like a really solid handle. You don't have to grip it crazy hard. You can grip it soft or hard. I mean, it's solid in your palm, right? So you have a really solid grip on it. I would say it's the most common grip you see people using in normal events. Like there's a lot of people transitioning to some of the other ones, but I would say in the grand scheme of things, especially older players, that's probably the most common grip used. And there's many variations. So one of the variations or you can go through the variations and show them, but the 3-finger grip, which is the exact same as this grip, but you're not having the pointer finger on the bag.
Say as you go through them, I can just show them actually.
Yeah.
So might as well. So I got trying to get a better camera angle. When I'm utilizing 50-50, I do a couple flips, and then I just kind of grab. So I'm basically 50-50 right there. That's my natural grip right there. I just give it a couple little wobbles and then I'm throwing my bag. So 50-50, just like that, thumb pretty much in the center.
Yep.
And I'm not a hard squeezer. So it's just kind of sitting there. If you grab it a little harder, it doesn't change the grip. It's just harder grab.
Sure.
So next we had 3-finger.
3-finger. Yep.
So pretty much same as 50-50, but you're kind of going to just chill with your pointer finger out. I mean, you're going to be pointing at where you're throwing, so you just leave that one hanging.
And I actually did this for the last, I've since gone back to normal 50-50, but I did this for like a couple straight months because I was finding that my pointer finger was the last thing catching on the bag when I was throwing it. So I felt like when I had my pointer finger off, everything was releasing at the same point. I felt like I wasn't getting caught. So that's why you might see people doing it as just a release point thing, which for me is what I was doing it. The pointer finger wrap is actually one that I see a lot of people doing, which is
weird to me.
It is weird, but it's the 50-50 that Corbin was just saying, except instead of your pointer finger being off the bag, you're wrapping it around the front of the bag. So you're like gripping it right on that seam, which I don't know if it's for them. They think they get more spin out of it, or maybe you're outside the bag. So it's kind of like you're not getting caught, but it's more comfortable. I'm not sure exactly why.
A little different.
Yeah, but I do see a good amount of people utilizing it, so bring it up. And then closer or more full. So, some people might do the 50-50, but all closer to the edge, which I talked about in my video. You get more natural spin the farther you are to the edge, but it's a little less comfortable because you have like less beads. And then more than half, which you're going to get less spin, but maybe if you have bigger hands, for me, it feels like a big chunker. But there are some people that do it.
Could help with the accuracy or something. It might take spin off, but it might help with the accuracy of it.
Maybe if the boards are really fast, it takes a little spin off. It stops earlier. Like, who knows necessarily why, but there are people that do it. So you've been since getting into the flop shot a lot more. You've been like obsessed with carpet, like annoyingly obsessed with carpet, but in a good way.
I know it's so bad, but I love it.
So you've been getting more into, you throw the butterfly grip when you're going for that flop roll shot. So
correct,
you want to explain your grip for butterfly?
Yeah, and I think I'm kind of unique in that sense that I think butterfly throwers typically just throw butterfly
all the time.
If you look at Jamie Graham, or I'm pretty sure Trey Birchfield pretty much utilizes the butterfly.
Yeah.
Eric Davis, they utilize that butterfly, but they throw it for every shot.
Yeah.
I don't find it comfortable to throw for every shot. And for me, it's like kind of making a different muscle memory so that I know what I'm doing for that shot.
Sure.
Right.
So that's your roll shot grip. So it's easier to know that's what you're doing.
Yep. So I'm still going to start it off with my normal flips just because I'm kind of anal OCD, right? I'm always flipping a bag when I'm standing on a board. That's, I don't know if, everyone does it, right? You're sitting there spinning.
It's like shuffling cards and card game and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. And of course the seam has to be in the same spot every time.
It's got to.
My seam sitting outside of my hand.
Exact same way.
Some people go seam forward. It's, whatever. It doesn't matter, but seam in the same spot. So I do a couple flips, but then I literally lift up and I settle all the beads.
So for the people listening, he has the seam of the bag, like the in between the two materials, basically running along the finger lining of like your knuckle line.
My seam,
completely
the
vertical.
Seam is basically just inside my hand, but the bag is completely vertical. I settle all the beads, and I do slide my hand back a little bit too. So you'll see I don't have the front of the bag at all.
Okay, sure.
I kind of go bottom 2/3. It's just me personally. But then you stick your thumb in, and you pinch and pull down. You see how it makes wings.
Yep.
That's
where it gets the name. Yep. It gets the
That's
name.
where it gets the name butterfly. So in the back, it's not, whatever. But, and I don't squeeze super hard on it. I squeeze it a little harder, but squeeze that thumb in there, and that's just a full clump of beads in my hand right there.
Would you say you squeeze harder than 50-50?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, because you really got to hold, because you're trying to hold those beads in that position.
Correct.
So then they hit the board and trigger.
If I just barely grab it and then I go to throw it, as soon as I go into my backswing, those beads are going to fall forward.
Yep, sure.
I don't really want that. So I'm dropping it down, squeezing kind of hard, and then the beads aren't shuffling as I'm going for my throw.
Sure.
This to me helps with a roll, a flop, anything in that nature, because it kind of lends to the pushing motion that I use to do that.
Sure.
Because you have a bigger clump in your hand, so you're going for, not a scoop and put. It's so hard to explain how to even do it.
Well, I also feel like
to flop, and it's going to be the most difficult video of my life.
I also feel like you have a bigger clump of beads that when it hits the board, it's slinging a bigger clump of beads forward, which is triggering that roll action.
That's part of it, also. Yes. So it just helps my release angle. But this grip actually does help a lot of people with consistency, with spin. With their accuracy. It can help a lot of different things. It just depends how you prefer to utilize it.
Sure. And that'll actually go into the next grip. I see a lot of people, like a lot of the good players around my area do, I'm going to call it the thumb pull, but it's basically a butterfly, but like halfway in the bag. And you're not necessarily setting the beads. Like I have my fingers in the same spot as 50-50, but see how the bag right now is folding over my fingers. Instead of the bag folding over my fingers, I'm going to pull back with my thumb, kind of triggering a mini butterfly in the middle of the bag, but now the bag is not falling over my hand. Like that pressure is being held on here.
Yeah, it's not really floppy anymore.
No, it's being pulled. I'm holding that pressure. And that grip, for me, it triggers a lot more spin when it's coming off the hand. The bag's like already flat in hand for me, and I feel like it triggers a lot more spin. But a lot of people throw this way near me. I call that the thumb pull. The other one is the thumb press, which is instead of pulling back to your hand, you're basically putting your thumb in the middle and pressing it to your pointer finger. So now you're getting the same sort of grip, but it's a little less back towards your palm and more up towards your hand. So you kind of have a straight grip on the bag. But that's kind of a variation on each other, but a lot of the people local to me either do that pull or that pressing motion on the edge of the bag, which I think lends to the higher spin rate for them, or the bag comes off a little bit flatter. But that is another grip if you want to try it. It is actually pretty comfortable to throw. I switch to thumb press sometime if I really need to throw a flat bag, because I find it's easier for me to throw a flat spinning bag. I just haven't worked on it enough to understand, distance control and whatnot. But sure. I do find it easier to throw it perfectly flat. Like when I was throwing my widows with the dots and they were kicking, I was like, all right, I'm throwing thumb press because it was completely flat. But it is another comfortable grip. And then kind of the last one, which is, I call it the full hand wrap, but I watched a video of US Cornhole where the woman was talking about, she basically settles the beads like you do for a flop, but her pointer and thumb are on one side of the crease and her other three fingers on the back of the bag. And so you almost have this big, like, bear claw grip on the bag. Yeah. And then you're coming. And for me, I feel like if I look at the bag and it needs to go flat, this is the one grip where you don't finish hand to the sky. You finish almost hand forward. So I don't know if this is lending to, like, you don't have to do that full wrist flattening motion and you're doing more of a forward pushing motion kind of thing. Yep. But it definitely feels like I got a big grip on this bag. I mean, it is.
Oh, you have everything
full in the palm.
I mean, I can feel it all. Yeah.
You are grabbing everything. So I mean, hopefully you guys got an understanding of there's a lot of different ways to hold a bag full of plastic beads. Yes. And they all come off the hand flat. I would say, I mean, if you watch a guy like Eric Davis throwing those crazy flops, crazy cuts, or even Ryan Windsor, they utilize that butterfly. It's just, I think it gives them that easier to get to wrist angle to get it, tumbling at the angle you need it to tumble at, to do the cuts, to do the flops and the rolls and whatnot. Because I mean, you got to think, if you're stacking the beads vertically in your hand and then gripping, the bag's already on tilt way more than if you're like this. I mean, like it's already up here to the point where it's like, if I was trying to get at that angle 50-50, it's almost too far. Like it's very uncomfortable to get to that angle of the bag. Mm-hmm. So it makes a lot of sense that people use that. But, I would say try all the different variations of 50-50 first. Try the basic one. Try a finger wrap if that's more comfortable. Try a 3-finger. And then try the butterfly, if you can. I know a lot of younger kids coming up that I play with around here are utilizing the butterfly. And I don't know if it's because, they whip it a lot more, get their hand a lot flatter. If you have that dexterity to be throwing it like that, more powerful, especially with carpet, they're throwing it a lot harder, a lot flatter. There's a lot of people using it, and it seems to be really good. A lot of the good pro players are starting to use it now too. So a lot of good options.
It's funny you brought up the angle. Like I literally, sitting at my table, I just held my wrist down to a normal throwing motion with different grips. So I hope it comes across on camera. Actually, try not to smoke my head with a 50-50. I know the light's right there above my head. It's when I'm going down natural, I'm pretty much, the bag is flat.
Yeah.
Right. This is where I would hold it. I'm just, lifting my arm straight up.
Yep.
This is how I would hold it and then release.
Yep.
When I'm doing butterfly and I go to drop it down,
yeah, it's already at an angle.
I'm already tilted.
Yeah, you're not having to rotate your wrist at 45 extra degrees.
Correct. And to even get this flat, I would have to literally turn my wrist over, which is not a natural motion in the throw. So that actually makes a whole lot of sense why you can manipulate the bag so much more using a butterfly, because you're kind of
already tilting the bag at the beginning. To
explain. You're in the right position because your hand is in a similar position, but the way you're gripping the bag is in a totally different position.
Yeah. Basically, if you finish it the exact same way with both grips, one's going to come off front tilt up doing your roll, one's going to come off flat.
Yeah. And even a little on end, possibly.
Yeah. Because of the starting angle. Yeah.
Yeah. That's wild. I guess we need to do a podcast on mechanics, don't we?
Yeah. Apparently, we need to work on Corbin's throwing motion because he doesn't understand angles. No. This is too much geometry for Corbin at what time of night?
For me right now. No, man, I got a flat bag now. I've worked on that.
Yeah, I
got that flat.
It wobbles, but it's flat. That's fine.
Oh, I
mean, mine wobbles more than yours, so.
Hell yeah, it does. No, that's actually kind of wild. I mean, that's very cool that I even learned something today. That's awesome.
Well, hopefully you guys can take this information and keep using it. We've talked about fills, materials, stances, grips. This is episode 5. What else did we talk about?
Oh, what else did we do? Materials, fills, stances,
grips. And then what's the last one?
Shot types.
There we go. So this is too many episodes. But hopefully now we're building you a picture of kind of from the ground up, all the different things that we're thinking about going into, just throwing it and then thinking about throwing it, and then we'll have to go into, strategies and all this other kind of stuff. But this is all the basics and hopefully can help you guys build a foundation that you feel comfortable throwing the bag and throwing it in a way that you can stay consistent and, do the things that you want to with the bag. And, if anyone's trying to learn that flop roll shot, that butterfly, Corbin's been spending how much time practicing this butterfly grip just to be able to do this flop roll. But it goes down to, adjusting your fundamentals to do different kinds of things. So, but I think that is a good place to end this podcast today. We appreciate you guys stopping by for another episode. Hopefully you learned something as Corbin did. And, and we'll catch you guys next week for the next one. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.